There's too many.
Remember what I taught you. One at a time, Lenny. We have to get to the safes.
It's too dangerous. We can find another way.
There isn't another way. They have your brother, Lenny. They've got Larry. If we don't get that intel, I don't know what's gonna happen to him. We have to go. Hold your gun out and do what I taught you to do. Get to those safes, Lenny. Get to the safes.
I never expected to be here talking into this little box. But here I am. The doctor says I got something like days left. So I guess it's about time I get to talking. My name is Leonard Leopold Lute Jr. But the few who know me well, they call me Lute Lenny. This is my story.
You little dipshit.
This is why Mom left. Dad, I can help. Dad, I can help.
God damn it, Lenny, just do what you're told.
Why won't you listen to me?
Say back, god damn it.
Why won't you listen to me?
Run, Lenny, run.
Dad! Dad, no! Tarkov is a cold, lonely place. Very few who find themselves here ever find comfort. Most find lead between the eyes. The funny thing is, though, no one who stays here cares much for comfort. What they are here for is loot. The Lute family story begins some 60 years ago, after my father wound up shipwrecked on these here shores. Leonard Lute Sr. grew up in Houston, Texas. He got himself a job working for a shipping company that often made voyages to the European ports, many of which connected all the way up into Russia. One day, a fierce storm dragged his 200,000-ton cargo ship directly upon the shores of Tarkov. I don't fully know why he chose to stay here. I regret not pressing my father on the details of this more. But if you had known the man, you would have left it alone too. My father was as emotionless as he was cold.
Try it. Do one thing right, goddammit. Golly, I might as well take you out back and shoot you myself. You have to be the dumbest I've You don't like the way things are around here? Get the fuck out of here. Zero common sense. I cannot believe you're my son.
Yeah. Daddy was an asshole. And I know it seems odd having a last name like Lute. But for all I know, this place changed my daddy's last name, the same way this place changed him. I'll get into that a bit later. But I tell you all this because I believe a man can only be half who he decides to be. That other half, that half a man can't seem to escape, is his blood. And that man's blood runs through these veins. And then there's my brother Larry. Where do I even start with Larry? He definitely wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed. He also couldn't talk. Daddy said he was born that way. Not sure I believe that, though. Rumor has it he got offered 50 rubles to gargle fuel conditioner, and it singed off his last vocal cord. I wouldn't put it past Larry. Now, Daddy drank a lot, so him and I spent a lot of time together. But when Daddy wasn't drinking, Larry was basically his sidekick. Daddy always preferred Larry over me. Him not talking probably had something to do with that. I'll never understand why Larry was so faithful to my father. He was no nicer to him than he was to me. And when they were out scavenging, well, I was here in the house that I grew up in. I can still remember the Loot household. Rotting wood that hadn't been tended to since the war. Ugly floral print lining the walls. The smell of Marlboro cigarettes always lingering in the air. It was far from what I would call extravagant, but it kept the wind away, my mattress dry, and the food cans from rusting. I like to believe a happy family lived here once, at least until Mom left. Daddy got a piece of sheet metal stuck in his leg when the ship crash landed. A lady by the name of Teresa was the doctor who removed it. Not a year later, Larry was born. I came along 4 years after that. The next 6 years would be hell for my father, as loot became harder and harder to find. The lab Mom worked at ran experimental trials on stimulants, and they'd pay for test subjects. I remember them arguing. I was 6 years old when she left. He did love her. That I do know. Once a year, Larry and I would have to carry him home from the shoreline. Daddy had a hard time with their anniversary after she left. "10 years had passed, and we carried on. One morning, my daddy came to me and told me he needed my help with something tomorrow. And then he proceeded to hand me a Colt 1911 pistol. If Dad ever needed the type of help that required shooting, he'd normally just get Larry. But Larry started to spend more and more time out on his own. It wasn't abnormal to not see him for a week at a time, so I thought nothing of it. He told me him and I were going to raid the pier in the morning, and that there were important documents we needed to get from the safes there. Now, I'll admit, part of me was excited, but when the morning came, it would all go wrong. The second we approached the pier, bullets started flying. An enemy faction of scavengers had beaten us to the docks. We were able to push up to the bridge, and before my father took his last breath, he told me the truth.
They have your brother, Lenny. They've got Larry.
Dad! Run, Lenny! Dad, no!
He sent Larry on a solo mission to get the documents. And in the process, Larry had been taken hostage. I could not save my father, but I could save Larry. I pushed through what felt like a dozen scavs and made it to the safes. Larry wasn't there. After picking the locks, I learned a horrible truth. The most dangerous gang in all of Tarkov had returned. They were out for revenge. And they got it. But they should have stayed away from Larry. They took my family from me. And now I would take everything from them.